Physically threaten me. Physically threaten me.
Dean Cain, American heartthrob, Superman to millions. He's patriotic, smart, kind, and very generous. Maybe too generous. He's recently made friends with Gabe El-Taib, co-creator of the amazing new comic, Truth, Justice, American Way. Dean has put his full-throated support behind this book. Or has he? Okay, this is the last thing, and I will get you the heck out of here. Do you think people should buy right now? Should they click the link and buy Truth, Justice, American Way? And why is it the greatest comic book ever? Why do you think that?
Well, they should buy it for sure, without a doubt. Right now, click it, go. I'm going to do it after this is over. So if I did it now, I think weird things would happen. And they should do it because Gabe is a big man and he physically threatened me.
Physically threaten me. Physically threaten me.
If I didn't say this,
that's right,
that he was going to choke me out and teach me what truth, justice, and the American way is all about. So I can't wait to see it. I love it that it's counterculture, and it's counterculture just being patriotic and standing for all the things that I stand for. I can't wait.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So what's the truth about Gabe El-Taib? Madman, artist, poet, gentle lover? It doesn't matter. Buy the book or Dean Cain gets it.
Physically threaten me.
Friday, June 10th. God, I hope my microphone is on. Friday, June 10th. It's me, your friend, Gabe El-Taib. I'm so happy you guys are here. I've been watching Stranger Things for like the last 15 hours. I know. It's good, though. It's not too woke. I was talking to my amazing guest about it right before the show. I want to bring her in right away. She's been in the, kind of topical lately. It's a lot of stuff going on with her. She's fantastic. She's super talented, and she's tough as nails. And I can't say her last name right, but no one can say mine right either. It's Irene Strakulski, and she's on full screen now because I clicked the wrong button. How you doing?
I'm muted. That's how I am doing. Hello.
Oh,
how are you?
right.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, I'm having a great day. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just got back home and ready to go.
Okay.
Long day at
You
work,
got back
but-
home. Can you say where you were, or is that classified?
It's classified.
Okay, classified.
It's a secret, but yeah.
Okay.
Hard at work. Busy day.
Okay. Well, yeah, and for those of you out there that don't know, she's got a project right now, Fiendish. We'll get to that later. But, we don't know each other very well, I think. But we've been on a few of Ethan's, like, Comicgate King streams.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit in DMs and stuff about some of our experiences working in the mainstream. But what I always like to ask people when they come on here, I like for them to tell their story so the audience can get to know them a bit. Do you remember the first book or cartoon or whatever it was that captured your imagination about drawing? Or did you just start drawing without seeing any art? Or can you, because I know what book I saw first. Do you know what it was that did it for you?
Well, I think I know the moment where I knew I was going to be an artist. I don't know about drawing because like from my memory and as my parents tell me, I've been drawing since I was about 3 and I just kind of never stopped because kids draw. And it was just the one thing I always latched onto. And it might be because my mother is a sculptor, or at least when I was, so she's always artistic, but so she quit and, because I grew up in Taiwan, first of all. And so when I was really, really young, before I went to elementary school, my mother was working as a sculptor and, hey, Taco Solo. And, but then after a few years, her factory got taken. Hi, Boob Dan. Her factory got moved to China. So there you go. China ruining our businesses since even when I was little. Yeah. I said I wasn't going to get political. Anyways. But when I remember when I was like 4 or 5, she had a sculpture studio in like my grandma's house and I would watch her. And I remember when I was 4, I was watching her make a sculpture and I picked up some clay and I wanted to, make something just like it, and like my hands were clumsy because I was 4. Of course, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just got this urge. I want to make something look like that because she was making like a person. I think it was like an angel, and like she did those like like those home decoration like cherubs and angels and those kinds of sculptures for this factory. So it was like this angel sculpture or something, and I remember just seeing that, and that's when the urge started that I want to make something, and I want to make something that'll like make other people go wow. And whether it's I still sculpt, by the way, so it just comics is my main thing, but I do sculpt and do a bunch of other crafts and stuff. But that's when it started. And drawing wise, I just started drawing around the same time, and it never stopped. And as far as like books go, I also, I don't know why this was around the house. I think it's because I really love dinosaurs. So when I was little, my parents somehow got their hands on a Jurassic Park story, but like it was this whole making of book with storyboards and with pictures of animatronics. And like I latched onto like the storyboards. Like this is where the story started. This is where the imagery, this is how the story was told. And then I latched onto that. And then it was like, actually didn't start reading comics until like around middle school, and it was manga, of course, because I was in Asia. But before that, it was I read a lot of novels. I started reading early, and then I would latch onto like storybooks and like picture books and stuff. So yeah, and then when I found out the magical medium, when I discovered the magical medium of manga, I was like, oh, can take drawing and writing and put them together. So then I never turned back. Yeah.
Okay. So you're about 3 years old and your mother's sculpting in the house, and that's when you realized you're watching an adult create in front of you, and you're like, oh, I love this. And then how old are you when you get a hold of the Jurassic Park behind the scenes storyboard, all that? How old are you when you find that book? Same age or a little older?
About 6 or 7. It was a little later. Okay.
Yeah. So you just have that thing in you. I have it too. I love to make model airplanes and dioramas. Did you do this? If there was a character on TV, like a cartoon character, and they didn't make the action figure, I would just make a paper doll or make them out of Legos or make them out of clay so I can play with them. Did you do stuff like that, like make all kinds of your own toys and things? Or
I would make my own toys, but it wasn't usually like from a TV show or something. Because weird childhood is gonna sound weird, but we didn't have TV because my parents were like, you don't need that, which is probably good actually. But I would make my own toys. I would make toys I would take soap. This pissed my mom off so much, but I would take bars of soap and sculpt little like sculptures or little figurines out of it, and or candle wax, and I would like take candles and make figurines out of it. And so I did make a lot of my own toys when I was young.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so those are the very formative years when you just chose to start walking down that path of I love to create. So you said you found manga. How old are you then? About middle school, high school, you said?
About middle school, like maybe 11 or so. So that was a little later. But let's see. So like there was always manga around. It was probably more like around 10. But it's Taiwan, it's Asia. Everybody grows up reading some manga. So like when I would go to the dentist, there was always like manga lying around because it's like they expect kids to be there, so they want the kids to like not run around and break things and read a freaking comic. So I would read stuff like Case Closed, and Naruto started coming out around the time when I was like 10 or so. So that was really hot, and a bunch of other stuff I don't remember. Pokemon, all kinds of weird stuff, and some other series that I don't know the English titles of. But I remember the one that I really latched onto was Case Closed, which is this mystery. It's called Detective Conan in Asia, and it's a mystery story. It's like a murder mystery.
Well, you can't say Case Closed. You have to say it with attitude. Case closed, right?
Case closed.
Right, get in there with your gusto. Come on.
Case closed.
It reminds me of what's that like Game Boy game with the Phoenix or whatever agent attorney? He's like, objection. It's always
stuff
like that.
Yeah, because it's manga and anime, so it's always super animated. Objection. Case
closed. I wish I had read more manga growing up. I was a devotee of Blade of the Immortal. I bought every single issue of that, starting in like 96 or 97 when Dark Horse started reprinting it, up until about 5 or so years ago, I think, when I quit collecting comics like 5 years ago. Now I just buy specialty hardcover books for art. But and the only other manga I ever really got into was like Ghost in the Shell and Akira. So I didn't ever go very deep into it. And now when I look at it, I'm like, man, there's so much there for me to read. I just started Berserk
much.
like about a month ago. My nephews told me about some book called Berserk, where a man chops the world in half with a sword, basically.
Yeah,
It sounds like my kind of story.
Your nephew is smart. Your nephew has taste.
Yes. Both of them. I think they both just turned 18, but they just graduated high school last week, both of them. And they told me about a year and a half ago, and I finally checked it out about a month ago. Did not disappoint. Are you a fan of that?
Yeah.
Apparently, it's been very popular this whole time, and I had no idea about it. So,
Berserk's my favorite manga ever.
Oh, you like it? It's just my favorite.
It's only my favorite comic ever.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like the deluxe edition right here next to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Berserk. Yeah.
And Alex has got all of Blade of the Immortal. Yeah, I probably don't have the last few years of it, but I loved Blade of the Immortal.
I haven't read Blade of the Immortal in a few years, but that's also one of my favorites. So, it's when I was in like middle school, it started out with stuff like Case Closed and like Naruto and Bleach. But high school, I realized I like really dark things and Lovecraft. So then it became Blade of the Immortal and Berserk and Akira and Gunsmith Cats. It's just that dark, but it's adult.
I've heard of that.
It's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, and then also Ghost in the Shell. The classics.
Right. So, you say you like dark things. We'll get to Fiendish here in a bit, but I still want to figure out how you got into professional work first, and then we'll get into Fiendish. And looking at Fiendish, to me, it's Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff, right? Lord of the Rings, magic and monsters and ghouls and dragons, and looks like there's a tiger man. There is a young blonde lad with a goatee, and he's going to hopefully he kills everyone like Berserk. Hopefully that goes on.
Well, he does kill a lot of things, but it's sorry, what?
I'm gonna let you sell Fiendish because you can sell it better than me because I've never read it. So I'll stop right there before I misrepresent it. So
it's Fiendish is a scene preview of Fiendish. So thank you. Yeah, by the way, the website, fiendishcomic.com, I have a preview on there. So because I figured I'd just share it. Like the first 20 pages are just for free. So
and I'll show that in a bit here. And that's in the description, guys, if you want to check out Fiendish. Now the Indiegogo's closed. I went and checked.
Yeah, so but you can sign up for 2.
Right, but there's do you have the link for the sign up for 2? Because I'll throw that in the chat too.
Oh yeah, I'll throw it in private.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, so we find Mama Sculpting. We love that. Then we find some manga in like middle school. And then how do you let's jump forward. Do you go to art school or anything, or did you just start getting art jobs after high school?
Oh no, I went to art school. So I went to I basically told my parents that because it was a really weird situation where even though my mom was the artist, she actually didn't really want me to do art because she thought I would starve. But I told my parents that the only way I was going to college if it was art school. Otherwise, I'm just not going to college. So they're like, fine. So I applied to a few schools, and I decided I'd come to America because there isn't really a domestic industry and entertainment in Taiwan, especially back then. There's a little more now with like mobile games. But so this was like a while ago. I'm dating myself, but
let me back up here because you said you're born in Taiwan, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have much of an accent at all, so you must have been here for a while. Did you come here as a small child or teenager, or when did you come to the States?
I came here. Yeah, I came here. Yeah, I am in the States right now, but I came here for college. No, I don't. Yeah, I came here pretty late, but my dad's American, so I grew up speaking English.
Okay.
So that's why. My dad's American, but I never lived here. He moved to Taiwan with my mom's family.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you've just been here for a little bit.
Totally. Yeah, I just graduated college, guys.
Yeah, we don't ask the lady here.
Yeah. I think people know, but
no, we can all guess.
I will be coy. Yeah, you guys can guess in the chat. I'm 50. Just kidding.
Wow.
Asian don't raisin. No. I graduated college in 1980. I'm just kidding. Where was I? Oh yeah, college. So
you were going to art school. That's where you were in the story. So
yeah. I went to art school, and I decided to go to SCAD. Which was my overpriced first choice. And actually, at first, I wanted to do animation because I didn't really know what like the sequential art major was until because I never seen American comics before college.
Really?
Because we didn't have them in Taiwan. We got Calvin and Hobbes. Because I went to an American international school, so we would have some comics, but it was all comic stores. I read Carmen Sandiego, Calvin and Hobbes, Smurfs, that kind of stuff, but not superhero books, and not anything like Vertigo or all that kind of stuff, or Image. So I didn't even know. I had no idea what American comics were like.
Wow.
And so I was going to major in animation, but then I moved here, and in my first year, I realized what sequential art was. I was like, oh, it's comics. It's like manga, but in the West. So I took a minor, and then by the time I was a sophomore, I switched my minor and major. I ended up majoring sequential art, minoring animation.
Okay.
So because I was like, that's what I actually want to do.
Okay.
Even though it's harder to make money and it's painful and the industry is weird, but I want to do that.
Yeah,
follow your passions.
Right. Well, I had the same choice. I went to the University of Northern Colorado, and I could have got my degree in drawing or painting, which is what I focused on. But I just got a degree in graphic design, so the diploma would sound better, easier to get a job, I guess. But what I did to counteract that is just took the same drawing and life drawing over and over and over more times than I needed to. So that way I would fortify my education with a ton of drawing. Because graphic design, it's a bunch of logos and typography and so. But I am a snob about logos and stuff. Whenever I go to a restaurant, it's like a family owned, and they let their cousin or their brother who has Photoshop make the menu. Yeah. The menu's just an unreadable mess. I'm sitting there looking at this menu, having kittens. And my wife and my family's like, come on, just forget it. No, this is terrible. This is unreadable. There's no hierarchy.
I know that feeling. Yeah, I know.
So the feeling, the designer. There's so much bad design out there because Photoshop and Illustrator, it's like a V12 engine, and you just hand anyone the keys, and then they just go insane, and they just make terrible art. So
it's like, you can have fun, but you don't really know how to design.
See, I think he's talking about it. He can't stop himself. He just gets a hold of it. I think he's talking about just going crazy in Photoshop. He might be talking about something else. That'd be worrisome, though.
I would be worried.
Yes. So is SCAD in Georgia? I don't know SCAD. I've heard of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's in Georgia.
Savannah College of Art and Design, or
it's in Savannah.
Okay, so I have heard of that. That's right.
Yeah.
And can't unsee bad design. Absolutely. And welcome all of you. We have 54 great Comicgate fans in here. We've got Teflon Ron and Dunn Ringhill and Alex VRB and David Rojas was here. Past Master Dan, who I always call Pasta Master Dan. Eric the Guapo. Eric, you may be guapo, but I'm the guapoist. Do you know what guapo means in Spanish, Rini?
No, I don't actually. What?
It means handsome. It means handsome.
Oh. Is that what it means? I didn't know that.
The inexorable word nerd is here. Scottsley is here. Oh, Scottsley interviewed me yesterday for his book reading group on a Discord. So he's going to be posting that to YouTube. I did an hour Scottsley. That was fun. Cranberry Langas is here. I always pronounce that in London English. Now, someone in the chat said that you don't have an accent really for not having lived in America much of your life. But they said, I can't find it anymore, that you can't do an Asian accent. Is this true?
Yeah, it's true.
That's funny that you can't do it. I can't do an Arab accent. I'm half Libyan and I can't do an Arab accent. So
I can't do it. Well, it's because people who can do Asian accents, usually they grow up with someone in a household speaking that way. So they can imitate that, but I didn't. I grew up speaking English to my dad and Chinese to my mom. My mom doesn't speak a lick of English. She can barely say her last name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, never lived in America. She doesn't speak English at all. So I didn't hear that accent growing up. So I would hear my Asian American friends who grew up here, so their parents had to learn English as a second language. They would do the accent and they would make fun of it. I was like, I actually can't do it. Okay. At all.
All right. So your mother has Chinese heritage then, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask, one of my editors at DC Comics, she was half Chinese, and she would give all these recipes for soup that was amazing. Does your mother make all kinds of amazing soups? Because I love soup.
She makes some good soup. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was an ethnic thing. I was kind of guessing it was. Is it a thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of soup recipes in Chinese cooking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it varies a lot. Do you have like really tasty stuff, spicy stuff, but also most of what my mom makes is like, ooh, this is good for you, but it tastes like medicine. But she insists we eat it. But I'm sure it is good for us. But
Okay.
but
Like
yeah, when she wants
half
it's
ginger,
like
half ginger, half garlic, or something like that.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. Then it's some weird animals boil into it. It's fine. Yeah, it's
Okay,
good for you.
One of my editors, that was her mom's thing, was if you have a cold, take this soup or that one. So thought I'd
Yeah.
ask. I think I'm onto something here. So anyway, you're at SCAD. You're enjoying the sweltering humidity in the South, getting your education
Fun.
for way too much money. How do you
Yes.
become a professional? Let's cross that bridge.
So I started working before I graduated, actually. Not it's just a couple months before, but my first job was, I mean, I was always freelancing all through college. My first like real job, professional gig, was doing like an 11-page short for Marvel on Deadpool Family.
Oh.
And I think they were specifically that whole book was all like students fresh out of college. Actually, I think everyone on that book was a SCAD student or like a recent graduate, or I might have been the only one who was still in school. But they were scouting like young artists to do like one book, but with like 10 or 11-page shorts all through it.
All right.
So that's what that book was. And then I didn't get work from them for years. So that was fun. So I decided I need to pay the bill. So I found a job in animation, and that's what I did for a while.
Okay. Can you read that? I don't know. Someone commented that.
妖魔鬼怪快递走. Monsters and ghosts go away quickly.
Okay.
So,
Is that something to do with Fiendish or?
I don't know. I mean, that fits.
And then that was his next comment. I don't know. I don't know if that's
defeated now.
I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that. If I'm probably missing something.
Jackie Chan Adventures. Okay.
Oh, see, I don't get anything. I don't get references.
I was a little too old when that came out, I think. So
yeah.
I think that was for my kids, actually, late 90s. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I might be a little too young for that because
you're so young. You just got out of college, you know.
Totally.
In May, you just graduated.
Totally, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You did this 11-page. Was it like a Deadpool anthology? You said.
Yeah, it was an 11-page in a Deadpool anthology, and then it was, didn't hear from them for years. So I was doing animation, and I was, I don't know if I was happy to do that, but I just kind of wanted to, like, you're young, you want to like do the responsible thing, and you want to do what everyone's telling you to do, which is pay the bills and just do whatever it takes to make money. And also, like, living in America is expensive. I don't have family here, so I was like, my first goal is to support myself. So I jumped between animation and some gaming jobs for like 6 years or so. And
so animation and gaming, anything that the audience would know? Any titles?
Not really. It was like mobile games and stuff mostly. I did an internship at but it was only an internship. I did an internship at CCP Games, which is the EVE Online studio, and in animation, I worked at the studio that makes Archer. Actually, I did work on Archer for a couple seasons. Cool. Like the asshole spy guy.
Right. I've heard of it.
Yeah. So I think that's the most well-known thing. But what's
asshole spy guy? I think that was their promotional campaign when it first came out.
Yeah,
I actually think spies?
Yeah, actually probably was the verbatim promotional tagline. that sounds just like it. Yeah, but what's funny is that all the things, I realized this recently, all the things that I'm known for other than Fiendish were all the jobs that paid the worst. Because the jobs that paid me were mobile games and like doing other games and design jobs and the things that weren't like, because like when you're working animation or doing Marvel or something, like those jobs paid so badly. And the reason I kept on jumping out of it was because I was like, I literally had no more savings. Help.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's been my experience. I've been a professional artist since 2000. And it's been my experience that when you work for some of the big companies, they take advantage of your enthusiasm and desire to work there. Namely Disney, Marvel, all that. They are notorious being cheap on every end, especially the comics, the TV end for sure. I know of a guy that wrote some stuff for their TV and they were so cheap. And authors that wrote Star Wars books having to sue them in court to get royalties. And Disney was awful. You worked for them a little bit on Deadpool and all that. I'm saying that. Renie's not saying it. I'm speaking for me, saying they were awful. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Okay.
But yeah, I that was my experience. Some of the stuff was really prestigious, so they take advantage of you. Well, you want to work on this, then this is the rate. And
Yeah.
I remember Marvel approached me to color. I was DC guy forever. And they wanted me to do Marvel Zombies 2, like in 2014 or 15. They wanted to give me $80 a page, maybe. You know? So yeah, we didn't do that project. So that was horrific. So but DC, they of the big companies, if you're out there wondering, the people in the audience, DC does pay the best, you know, for the big
That's
companies.
what I hear. Yeah, that's what
I get royalties every quarter for the rest of my life. I think in the contract, I think it said 9 years past my death, my widow would get it. You know what I mean? So even though I humiliated them and gave them the bird, they have to keep paying me. And by the way, DC, if you're listening, royalties are due in July. So get to stepping. Get to stepping. Daddy's birthday is on the 24th of July. Send me my money.
Oh, that's great. Yep. See, that's how people should treat corporate jobs. They are a client. Some artists they think like the corporate job is the end all be all, and I'm totally opposed to that. Anyways. Soapbox.
Right. Hold on a sec. We got a super chat. Always have to honor those. The great Angela Curry, who was modded the other night. I knighted her, made her mod of this channel. Angela, she's always here. She's in so many of the great Comicgate streams. Hey, Irene, when are you sending the books? Do you think her tone was nice or mean in that sentence? I could read it two different ways. Hey, Irene, when are you sending the books? Or it could be, when are you sending the books?
No, she's being nice. I'm sure all my backers have all been very nice.
Don't interrupt my acting method here. I'm an artist.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, well, okay.
I'm moving next month and can't change my address on Indiegogo, frowny face. How can I get you my new address? Can't wait for book. Heart. There you go.
Oh, I am hoping to, let's see, it should be about like 15 working days is what the printer is saying. But if you want to send me your new address, just message me on Twitter or send me an email, which you can find through my website. It also should be through Indiegogo, but best way, just message me on Twitter. I'll make sure the book gets to you. Just let me know.
You got that, Angela? Message her on Twitter. And I think have like your Indiegogo order number.
Backer number. Yeah,
your backer number. That will help her out with whatever you need to do there. So
yes,
thank you. See, we're doing business live on the air. Fantastic. So you get hired by Marvel, you do animation, you do mobile games. Now, Fiendish. It's a great looking book. You're a great illustrator. Are you coloring this? Are you just illustrating? Are you doing the whole shebang? Or what's going on here?
No, I've got a colorist. Yeah, because I hate doing interior colors. So.
Okay. Well,
I color the Oh, no. Sorry. I was just going to say I do the covers and like some of the posters. So I color that, but I just don't like doing sequential colors. I just want to be done with it at that point. So yeah, I hire somebody.
Oh, quick follow-up. She doesn't have a Twitter. Good for her. It's good for your mental health to not have
smart.
A Twitter. Yeah. She'll send you an email with the backer number. Send her an email.
Awesome. Okay. And if you have trouble finding my email, just go to the Fiendish website, fiendishcomic.com, and use the contact form.
Right. And the page I have up right here, this is fiendishcomic.com. So I'll throw that in the chat right now.
Awesome.
So there's the link for you, Angela. So Fiendish.
Yeah.
Has this been boiling in your brain since middle school, or where did this come from?
Actually, no. You know, it is a lot of all my influences since I was very young. But what's funny is it hasn't been boiling in my head that long. I just realized that when I guess let's backtrack a bit and tie things into what I was saying before. I had been working for I worked in animation gaming for a while. Then I realized that I really wanted to do comics. So, and the only way I knew of how to make a living doing comics was to get work with the big two. So that's what I did. I sought out, whatever connections I had. I don't even remember who, but I sent some emails and sent some samples, and they started giving me fill-in work. So I was a fill-in artist on a bunch of YA books for about 3 years, and realized that the pay was getting worse and worse, and they were never putting me on anything that I actually wanted to draw, and I was getting really depressed. So I actually had moved back to Taiwan because I wanted to draw comics so bad. I'd taken such a huge pay cut, but I couldn't pay my bills in America anymore. So I moved back to live there just so I can afford things. And I kind of hit a dead end. And I just felt like it was, I joked that I had a quarter life crisis because I was about 25 or 26. And I was like, I really I want to draw comics, but this isn't the way. And everyone has been telling me this is the end all be all, but I'm not happy here. And I know that deep inside, I always wanted to draw my own series because that's what I grew up with. That's manga are all creator owned series,
Right.
and I'm just like I'm the kind of type of person that just I don't like being told what to do. In case it's not obvious, and I want to be my own boss, and I want to have my own ideas. I want to tell people. I want to tell the world about like my own stories. So, and I just couldn't figure out how to do that. And I one day I just during 1 month when I was not getting anywhere from Marvel because that happened a lot. There were many long months in between jobs where I was just suffering. I had started playing a lot of D&D, no, specifically Pathfinder, which is like a spin-off of D&D. And it's like, I think something just clicked in me where I felt like I saw the story that I wanted to tell. I wanted to tell a long form story. I wanted to tell something that was an action adventure, but I wanted to put my own spin on it. And I wanted to put in my influences from like horror, like Lovecraftian horror, and a lot of manga influence as well. And honestly, there is a lot of Eastern influence in Fiendish, even though the dressing is like very much like ancient, like my own fantasy version of ancient Europe. So if as you read the story, there's a lot of little clues and hints, and especially the storytelling is very manga. But yeah, I started working on this probably about 4 years ago, and then it just never stopped.
Wow. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm a little gobsmacked just looking at it here. What I love about it so much is luckily for you, you didn't waste, 15, 20 years in the mainstream, check to check, begging for work, having to be politically correct, all these things, kissing corporate butt. You must be pretty bright. You realize right away, like, oh, you know what? I'll just do it myself and make all the money and own it. That's smarter. Because I spent the better part of 2 decades working for DC and all these companies, and they'll invite you to the movie premiere. I went to Aquaman and Shazam, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you watch the movie make $1.3 billion, and you're like, huh, I got to go to a premiere.
Yeah. Then you don't get any of it.
Like, what did it cost to send me to the movies and give me some free canapes and little, pedophores to eat at a party in Hollywood? A couple $100. And it started to dawn on me that all the political correctness and the political discrimination against people like me, and then just the pay, I never got a raise. For those of you out there in the audience, literally, I have friends, I won't name names, but friends at Marvel and DC, they literally have their 1996 page rate, or in more than one case, it's gone down. They don't even have their 1996, 97 page rate. They've lost, they're being paid less. That's how you forget. You're like, oh, it's Spider-Man, it's fun, it's Batman, it's fun. It's like, no, it's the biggest entertainment company in the world. You're a code number on a spreadsheet to these companies. They do not care, So I think it's really fortuitous for you, Rini, to realize right away, quit running your head into that corporate wall and just say, you know what, I'm going to make Fiendish and own it. That's really cool,
Well, I think I was also lucky because of this whole crowdfunding scene that had been burgeoning for so long. Because of what Comicgate had been doing, I walked into a market that was ready, and it was someone who wanted to go independent. There was space for that, because when I was going to college, there was no space for that. If you want to go going independent back then was pitched to Image or IDW, but then you still have they're the gatekeepers. They decide if your books get published, and this is what I was always told. Which, by the way, I have sent samples to DC and some people at Image. I think at some point, I don't even remember who. And what I was told was I'm too manga all the time. Too manga, too manga, too manga.
Here's what they're like. You're too manga, and you're like, huh? You mean that thing that outsells your superhero comics?
Oh, don't even get me started.
Yeah, like what do you mean? You're too manga. That sells way too good for Marvel DC. We don't want your kind around here. I worked in the belly of the beast. I know this is your interview. I don't mean to talk about myself, but I have an example here. I worked in the halls of Wildstorm for 3 years. I love those people. Almost none of them are SJWs. They were just good, even if they're left wing, right wing, whatever. They're just good, normal people. The trouble is there's just a few that are SJWs. But SJWs, they're rabid. They have no empathy and no conscience. So even normal left-wing people who are good people, right-wing, whatever, they just put their head down because these others are psychos, just a sawed-off psychopath, and they steer the ship, these crazies. So it's a really sad situation, these companies. But for them to say your stuff is too manga, and then considering how good it sells, manga in general, that's just shows you the incompetence. So,
oh my gosh,
there was a question in here I wanted to get to. We can put a pin in it if it's too soon. But Teflon Ron asked, I can't find it anymore, but I know it was him. When did you hear about Comicgate, and how did you start to associate with our little corner of the world over here?
Oh, you know what's funny? I started hearing it. I don't know. I think it was a little after the whole drama with your boy Zach and Antos, actually. Because what's funny is I was either on sort of like roll call. What is that what you call it? I was on the back burner because I was a fill-in artist on Gwenpool, or I was actually working on the book at the time.
Right.
And so like I was directly working with her when that whole Twitter drama broke out. So I heard about it definitely. I didn't pay much attention to it. I wasn't on YouTube much at the time, but I remember hearing about Comicgate and how everybody was saying it was all these terrible people, as a group of rabid toxic fans who just don't want women in comics. That was the narrative that I was hearing.
Right.
And then I remember a few months later, I started getting more into YouTube and I started looking up comics channels. And then I found people who were running Comicgate channels. And my impression was, well, some of them sound a little edgy and annoying, but this isn't what I was told. Like this isn't, nobody is saying women shouldn't be in comics or anything. They're just saying, well, you know, these books seem like they're not up to par, and it seems like it's really woke. And I was like, well, those are good points. Yeah, even if they're a little mean when they say it, I was totally lied to. So I was listening to, like, on and off, you know, a little Comicgate content here and there, but I wasn't super into it until, honestly, like when I launched my Indiegogo, I didn't launch it as a Comicgate book. I decided I would use the Indiegogo platform because I felt like it was a better platform, and I already ran a campaign previously, my art book that I released in 2019. But I was like, I just want to do an indie book. I didn't feel like it was necessary to join like a community or anything, but it was the fans who started recommending me, hey, you should go on these streams, you should like use your YouTube more, you should promote, and you should, like, you know, a lot of us are Comicgate and we're just about promoting indie books, and we really like your book. And that's how I started talking to the community. So It was the fans. And through that, you know, you slowly realize when you actually talk to people that a lot of the stuff that I was told when I was at Marvel, and I sort of already knew it was ridiculous because I had been slowly growing more and more anti-woke throughout like the past, I don't know, I think like the past 5 or 6 years. And like I've always been fairly liberal, but because the landscape, especially where I was in the arts, had gone so crazy, I was like, I feel like I need to take a step back and, you know, really research what this is about. And I realized I didn't agree with what they were saying. So anyways, not to get too much into the politics, but
I told you I wanted to do an hour each on abortion and then gun control.
yeah. So that's what we're going to get into next.
Comics, we'll do that. So that's coming up, guys. Just a little bit.
Yeah. That's
it's going to be fun.
Here we go. Whoa, we're really going to blow up YouTube now. But long story short, I kind of peripherally heard about Comicgate just because I was around comics, but I didn't really delve into it until I launched this book. And then I was like, this is a good place to be. Fuck whatever the toxic people in mainstream or like the SJWs, if you want to call them that, whatever they say. I'm going to go where people actually are supporting indie comics. And I think this is really what it's all about.
Right. Yeah, I think if I could speak for Comicgate for a moment, I think the whole thing is united under free speech. That's it. Because you kind of have a little bit of different factions in Comicgate. They all seem to get along. But what is uniting them is, hey, I want to say this or do this, and then the market will decide if it succeeds, and that's it. I don't want to be beholden to, well, you can't use that pronoun or say this about that group. Or Irene, I mean, how dare you write sort of European fantasy when you're clearly not blonde, blue-eyed, like like that's the kind of stupid thinking. And I remember reading a news story about these two white women from Portland, I think, Oregon. They went down to Mexico for a trip and went to these little Mexican grandmas and learned to hand make tortillas. And when they went back to Portland, they opened up like a Mexican restaurant and they made these delicious handmade tortillas taught to them by the abuelitas, the little Mexican grandmas. And when the wokesters in Portland found out that these white women were appropriating Mexican culture, they shamed them into shutting their own restaurant.
Oh my God, Portland is a hellhole.
Like, no.
Whole other dimension.
You can't tell me I can't cook like spaghetti because I'm not Italian or like, get the hell out of here. You know what I mean?
It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's foolish.
Like they confuse cultural appreciation for appropriation. Like this whole idea of appropriate, it kind of infuriates me. It's one of those things that really infuriates my woke culture because I'm multicultural. I grew up in between several cultures, and once this woke stuff started happening, I think it's part of why I woke up to it pretty quickly. No pun intended, because. I realized people would just start telling me what I can or can't say depending on like their opinions. They're like one day I would be white, one day I would be Asian if they felt like I could play the victim role, right. And it just became really inconsistent. And also a lot of stuff that was being said about like new wave feminism, I totally disagreed with. I was like, this is bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. Women are paid less than men. Like it's about how much you work. So anyways, just use your brain. So it was that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, hey, let's drill down on that because that's something you and I have completely in common. You said that you're multiracial, multicultural, and all that. I'm Mexican, and on my mother's side, we trace ancestry back to before it was America. A man from northern Spain. He was Basque. He was Duran. That's my mom's last name. So he came here in the 1700s, like pirate times. My dad from Libya came from Africa in like 1973. So I am like the American dream. I'm here before the country. And here, I'm first generation immigrant on one side, and on the other side, I predate the country. And being Mexican, and then on my mom's side, we're Christian. I'm Christian, but my father's devout Muslim, prays 5 times a day. So to me, being so diverse, like with the different cultures and religions in my own family, identity politics are a joke to me. Because I've said this before. Which one of my hands is the Mexican one, and which is the Libyan one? Like, what in the hell are you people talking about? It makes no sense, this stuff. Because I would say the difference between Mexican, Arab, Chinese, black, white, whatever, is like this. And the similarities are like, you can't even measure it. As human beings, we're almost the same. The differences are tiny details. But in general, we're all the same. Like, it's a joke to me. Do you feel that way, or do you disagree, being multiracial and having lived in 2 countries? How do you feel about this?
I think more or less the same way. It's most of my contention with identity politics is I think they claim they're trying to solve past injustices, but the tools they're using are exactly the same. They're trying to essentially inverse past wrongs and saying that to make up for injustices of the past where people were treated differently based on their skin tone or their background, we should treat people differently based on their skin tone and background even more. Just inverse it. But then you have all these questions about, well, what about mixed people, and what about like what about people who are like so much time has passed in certain historical wrongs and whatever, and not just talk about America all over the world because they'd like to apply this to other countries that have nothing in common with America. It's really weird. Right. It's a weird kind of cultural imperialism, really, identity politics. So like I kind of agree with the approach that, dude, I think the best if you want to help people, class-based, and just first of all, treat everyone the same and raising everyone's opportunities based on class and based on poverty levels. That is the best way to help society and lift people up. And, by treating people differently based on your background, that just causes more division. Like that doesn't actually solve anything. We're supposed to move past that. And that's how I feel. I never understood like, you know, people go around and joke about like, oh, you know, I joke about being Chinese and Jewish and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's funny because we all know it doesn't matter. But when you have a group of people making it, they taking it seriously, they're like, no, you really can only say this if you're Irish. You can only say this if you're Indian. That's not, you know, I don't agree with that at all. It just strikes me as really weird.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, okay, so Strakalski, say it again for me. I'm killing you, man.
I say Strakalski. I mean, I know the actual Polish pronunciation, but we're very Americanized. It's Strakalski.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. And you brought up a great point that it's class-based is where the differences are. Because they want to say, oh, I'm Mexican. So they'll say, oh, Mexicans are disadvantaged, whatever. No. No one's ever done anything to me or held me back because I'm Mexican. But the people that do get held back are the poor. And I do feel like the elites, this is just my theory on it, the elites, they hate all of us, middle class and down. They just hate all of us. And they divide us by race and sexual orientation and religion and all this stuff. So they won't really see the real problem is class, that they're all rich and have all the money and they don't give anything to any of the workers or any of the people do making the money, earning it and all that. So they want us to be fighting each other about being gay or being black or whatever, instead of realizing that they're a bunch of thieves. So when you talk about class, I do agree with that the lower classes, they are held down, and it doesn't matter what race they are. There's plenty of white people too. You know, plenty of white people are poor too, not just Mexicans and black and all that. So yeah, I definitely think it's class-based is where the real problem is.
Yeah, not to get too like elite dark cabal running everything behind the scenes, but I do kind of think that part identity politics, because look at who's pushing it. Now we're really going to get into this, aren't we? It's like, it's when you're, what strikes me as weird about a lot of woke culture is people who adhere to it think they're being rebels, but they're using the same hashtags as large corporations. They're using the same hashtags as the government, and they're conforming to what the government, large corporations want them to do. And like, why don't you take a step back and think about it? Do you really think that if you can make change and force the powers that be to make society better, like force the powers that be to change, do you think they would be supporting the hashtags that you use and like,
oh my gosh,
like, oh yeah, use, and like also objectively look at how does, you know, changing your profile picture using a hashtag help anybody? It doesn't. Why aren't we talking about reforming education? Why aren't we talking about infrastructure and like fixing, you know, it's businesses and economy. Economics means so much, and I'm really big on changing education. I'm not going to get too into it. Oh my god, I'm going to go on a whole rant. But
no, I agree with you. I saw like Rage Against the Machine, like demanding vax cards and all this stuff. I'm like,
yeah, hilarious.
Raging with the machine, there, guys. You know, so they like are the opposite of what they said they were now, and yeah, it's no coincidence that all these Hollywood celebrities they repeat the mainstream government's, you know, they repeat their propaganda, you know, verse, you know, chapter and verse. So, and I have my theories about that too. I think they're blackmailed. All that weird drugs and sex stuff they do. I think like the powers that be have it on them, like blackmail, and make them say all the stuff. That's my theory. That's my theory.
Maybe,
so,
yeah.
That hat's on a little tight today, but that is my theory.
No, I don't know much about Rage Against the Machine, but I think that's a lot of people though. It's a lot of people in Hollywood. Yeah. I don't know. This stuff is just so dumb because, and like, I want things to be better. I want people to have equal opportunities. I just think this, the current cultural zeitgeist doesn't actually support it. And some people just don't understand that. You say you don't, you know, you're anti-woke, or, you know, you think that using, I don't know, like Stop Asian Hate doesn't actually stop Asian hate, and it's stupid for you to just, you know, use that hashtag. It doesn't help me at all. And you tell them that, they're like, well, why do you hate Asians? Well, no, I'm telling you, you're not doing the right thing to help. You're just virtue signaling, and they don't understand.
Right. I think it stems from this. This is another one of my theories. I'll adjust the tinfoil. You have the real like pandemic in the world is narcissism. I think the left SJWs, their whole heuristic for life is narcissism. Anything they don't like to hear, like a baby throwing a tantrum, don't say that, don't think that, don't be that. It's like it's their world and everything is about them. Hence the virtue signal. Because if I could say, oh, I support Asians, you know, whatever, and I can put the Ukraine flag up and I can virtue signal, that doesn't help anyone. But what it does is I get to pat myself on the back and be a hero for a few minutes. And that's all about ego. So to me, everything I see them do, I remember I've said this before on this channel. The day after Trump won the election, I got an email from a big time editor of DC Comics telling me not to worry, that people like them would protect me from Trump and his goons. I didn't say anything back because I didn't want to lose my job and get on a blacklist because they didn't know my politics. But in my head, I'm like, I voted for the guy. What do you mean you're going to protect me from what?
You know what? I bet there's a lot of people like that still in the industry. But
oh yeah, they talk
like
to me.
You said, like they're at the mercy of the small cabal, the minority, a very small minority.
Right.
It's
Super
ridiculous.
chat. Let me read that real quick, and we'll get back to the mercy of it because I want to talk about that real quick. Bob Gable for $4.99. Thank you, Bob. Gabe, did you see the NFL denied? Fined is what he meant. Fined the Washington coach $100,000 for saying January 6th was a dust up. Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was disgusting that the head coach fined the defensive coach $100,000 for giving a political opinion when asked a question about it.
What?
So, but that's the kind of
are
thing,
we living in?
Yeah, and that's how it was for Marvel and DC Comics. Now they weren't going to fine me and take money out of my check, but they would take money away from me by saying you can't work here anymore. You know what ends up being the effective difference. You know, so I kept my head down for years, and the woke people are true racists because they divide us by race. That is racism. They are sexist. They divide us by men and women and gay and straight and all that. They're the true bigots. So I knew I could just hide there at DC Comics in plain sight because I look like this and I have that name. I knew they thought I was far left and all that as long as I just didn't say anything. Yeah. And if you look at my old Twitter, all I would put is my artwork and stuff about the Denver Broncos. I would never say anything that mattered really, you know. I mean, the artwork matters, but I would never say anything political at all. And I knew as long as I just didn't say anything, they just assumed because they're bigoted, they just assumed I was far left wacko like them.
You know, that's
no
funny.
idea I was actually masculine and lift weights and have children and a wife and all home, like a grown-up man.
Yeah, that's funny because I think you and I have that in common because my old Twitter, I would just basically stay silent and I wouldn't talk politics.
Right.
And
you're a woman.
And because I'm a woman,
Asian,
I'm Asian, and they just assumed that I had the same politics as all the rest of them. I would just not say anything. So it's really funny that as long as I don't say anything, they want to, you know, they assume I'm their friend and I'm in their club. But as soon as I open my mouth, they say they want to support minorities and women, and they want women to speak up and they want minorities to be heard. But as soon as some minorities and women speak up, they're against it. They don't want to hear your opinions if you don't think like them.
Right. And again, that goes back to that religion of narcissism. That's what woke is. This is how stupid they are, how they lack critical thinking. And I'll never back down from this, Mark Brooks, you clown. In his little 2-volt brain, he's like, well, they disagree with me. So they can only two answers in his little mind are they got to be stupid or they got to be evil. He never gets to the third one of, or Mark Brooks could be wrong. Like, how much of a weirdo narcissist do you have to be to think that you're never wrong? And the only way people disagree with you is they are evil or they're dumb. Or both. That's crazy to me, but it's also amusing. So I've called him out in public, debate me at Comic-Con about all this, and he won't because he's afraid of me. That's right, buddy. You're afraid to debate me.
Oh, come on. Just do a debate. I mean, stand up for your ideas.
Chicken.
No, like this whole like this, you know, when things start going down, you know what side, and you know, there are clear political sides now. There's no getting around it, unfortunately. I wish we didn't have to delineate things that way, but if you want to ask yourself and figure out who has gone too far, look at who's not debating. Look at who treats anyone who thinks differently or has a different opinion as evil instead of wrong, or as someone who simply wants a different solution. When whoever is treating someone of a different political bias or different political, like across the aisle or whatever, or even like a little bit further to the left or right, if their opinion of anyone who thinks differently from them is they're evil or they just hate everyone, well, then those people are the extremists, because that's not how a sane normal adult thinks, that everyone who thinks different from me is just hateful and evil and should be excommunicated. That's cult behavior.
Right. Well, yeah, it's that. And it's also the behavior of 3-year-olds, right? Little kids, they're completely narcissistic, but that's normal at that age of development. So I think, honestly, this is my big theory here. I think it's the lack of fathers for the last 50 years in Western culture, that we demean fathers, we make fun of them, we make them powerless. They're all Homer Simpson, they're all just apes dragging their knuckles. They're not the men that went to the moon, built the internet, made modern medicine, made television, like all these great things that men have done, and women did it with them, 50-50, wives, husbands. But to denigrate the father, so you either have no father, your parents are divorced, or you have a weak father in your house because culture is just slamming him all day for trying to be a man. I think this is what 50 years of that, I think this is the only outcome we could have had. You know what I mean? Where men are just like, you know it. You're a woman, and women have a lot more intuition with social dynamics. They're just wired for it. You see how men are. You see how timid most of them are, how most of them won't stand up nowadays and do the right thing. You know, you see it, right? You know, they back down, they supplicate.
There's a lot, especially in my age group.
Right. You know, every time I hear a guy say happy wife, happy life, I just want to like, that's not how you're supposed to live.
I don't know. And it's like,
your wife will hate you if you act like that, okay?
Yeah. And like, I feel, you know, and I just feel bad for these people more than like, I try to not make fun of them because I feel like they never had a different, they almost never had a chance. They've never been exposed to anyone who thinks differently. Their whole friend group thinks the same way. And, you know, they live in urban centers and they have like a certain social group. They're in the bubble. They're really the ones in the bubble. And, you know, it's the problem is, I think family dynamics for the last 50 or so years in America is a problem because I was shocked at I remember this this one guy I was dating, like he was like, you know, he's talking about his parents are separated, and then I mentioned my parents are still married in Taiwan, and then like he was shocked that my parents are still married, and I've met multiple people who are just surprised that my parents got married and they're still together, and everyone in my family, there's not a single divorce in like my immediate family.
Right.
My one drunkard uncle got kicked out of the house, but they still didn't get divorced. Like it's so, and I'm not saying, you know, divorce is like never go there. Like I'm not super traditional, I'm not very conservative at all, you know, and this is the thing, you know, it's not even about being conservative. You can just like, you can be a normal liberal and they'll excommunicate you for not being an extremist. And I think so, going back to the family thing, I think that's part of it because it really shocks me how much of what a huge portion of American society is like from broken families or people who grow up fatherless. And I think it has an effect when it's on a society-wide scale. But the other part is education, and education has been slowly, for lack of a better term, infiltrated by a lot of extremist thinking and Marxism and cultural Marxism. And that's something that's been going on for 20 and 30 years. Right. And I remember even 10 years ago when most of the really woke trends were confined to colleges. This is when like Brett Weinstein was in Heather Heying was getting, you know, kicked out of Evergreen and all that drama. Everyone was saying, oh, this is just the colleges. It's going to stay contained there. Well, no, of course it's not, because those people in college are going to graduate and move into society. And right now we're dealing with that like 7-8 years later. Right. So it's education and it's also family. Yeah. And again, what does it go back to? Family and education. If you want to help people, make people mentally stable, economically stable, teach them useful skills, bring us all up, bring up people from poverty, family and education.
Right.
But nobody's talking about that. We're talking about using hashtags and virtue signaling.
Right. And I do think they incentivize divorce, you know, to destabilize the middle class and the poor. You know what I mean? Because again, it's that class war that's invisible. They tell you it's a racial, gender, sexual orientation. They tell you that's the war, the social dynamics, the identity politics, but it's the class war of the ultra rich, making sure the lives of the middle class and the poor are ruined. And divorce is one of their chief tools to do it. When you destroy the family, you destroy everything. The human beings, you said, you speak Chinese, right? You understand it a little bit, right?
Yeah. I'm fluent.
Now I know this is like a dumb question, but why do you speak Chinese? Why do you specifically speak it? Because
my family's from Taiwan and I'm part Chinese, and
your mom taught it to you, right?
Yeah.
So just extrapolate that out to your culture now. Why do you speak kindness? Why do you speak patience? Why do you speak, you know what I mean? Why do you have those things in your personality and, you know, character and fortitude and determination? because you had a mom and a dad. And mothers and fathers are different. I don't care what the postmodernists say. There are things only your father can give you. There are things only your mother can give you. And I won't hear different. Okay. If you want to argue that, you're arguing with possibly hundreds of thousands of years of human history. So when we take the father out of the equation, we're destroying people. We're destroying their lives. And it's a tragedy. I've been married 25 and a half years. I did get started a little early. So I do. Yeah, that's my Mexican side.
That's a long time.
I am yo soy Mexicano. So I had a daughter at 18. I graduated high school. I graduated high school and found out I was going to be a dad like 4 months later. So,
wow.
It's a stereotype for a reason.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I used to think that sounds like it would be so stressful, but now looking back, I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. It sounds like you should have family early.
The advantage is you have all the energy in the world, 18, 19, 20 years old, dealing with an infant. And my wife was young too. She was only 20. And I say my best friend, he's 1 day older than me. We're both 43 now. And he just had kids like in the last 3-4 years. So I just laugh at him now because he's like exhausted. He can't go out to dinner. My kids are 25 and 23 years old.
Oh, wow.
They have jobs. They just go do whatever. And me and my wife, now we have money, but we're still young enough. So we go travel all over, do all this fun stuff. So I would rather do it now when I'm a little older, but still youngish than to have done it in my 20s and then be locked down with babies now. So, to all my friends out there waiting to be 40, you should have done it the Mexican way. Have them
the Mexican way.
I did not escape teenage pregnancy. I didn't get out of it. So.
Oh man, yeah. I think everyone's different, and some people like me just have terrible luck with romantic relationships. But dude, I feel like the older I get, the more I think maybe it's like I don't know why we discourage people from having families young. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's it gives. Because having a family gives most people something to focus on and something to work hard for. And then you have something to protect and it motivates you and gives you this great purpose in life. But then there's also the side of like people are young and stupid and usually get with the wrong person. But, well, maybe you should be more responsible, grow up quickly. I don't know. It's a multifaceted issue.
I think from this end of it now in my early 40s, I think it's better to get married young. But I don't have a second life of my own to compare it to getting married older. Yeah. But I will say this, if you just wait and wait and wait and wait, it's like, I can't see a point of my life without my wife and kids. Like, art, I got to the top of DC Comics, whatever, I'm doing good in Comicgate. That's all great, and I thank God for it. It's a blessing. But it's not a scintilla of value to me compared to my wife and kids. If you told me I had to quit being an artist to keep them or whatever, like I had to choose, you wouldn't even finish asking me the question. I'd say, yeah, I'll keep them. You know what I mean? I would just walk away from it like that if that was the choice. Now, I know that's a ridiculous, like, hypothetical, but I think you get my point. Like, having a family, having a wife and children to love and to raise and all that, it makes my life have meaning. You know what I mean? Or what I'm saying? And I really do think a lot of the hurt and a lot of the insanity from the SJWs, it's broken homes. And we get mad at them and we get really pissed off at what they do. But I think it's a lot of broken people with broken hearts, if we're going to be really honest about it. It doesn't excuse horrible behavior. It doesn't excuse canceling people. But to me, there's a level of empathy I do have when I think about it, because I come from divorce myself, and I've had to do a lot of work on myself and a lot of praying. God's delivered me from a lot of anger and things. And I know how that hurts to not have a dad around and stuff like that. It's heartbreaking, So I don't know. I think family is very important to me. And I hope I can make work that lifts people up. That's why I don't want to make woke stuff. And I want to ask you if this is with Fiendish. We'll get back to Fiendish because we're getting a little heavy here. And but I want to make work that makes people realize no matter how hard your heart is broken, no matter how scary it is or terrible, whatever's going on, you can get through this. You can rely on your family. You can rely on your culture. You can rely on your religion. Whatever. It's kind of a conservative message, but not heavy-handed. You can rely on the people around you and your culture and your own inner strength, and you can overcome tragedy. You can overcome danger. And I want people to see my fantastic examples in my comics and then just kind of extrapolate that to their everyday life. You know what I mean? So is that important to you in Fiendish and the other books you have in the future to inspire people in any way? Or is it just fun? Is it just junk food? And that's okay if it is, but do you think about that much when you make your books?
Oh, definitely. I think the way I create is more I've been working through my story with some friends who basically act like my editors. I do need to get an editor, but it's very hard to find an editor that fits what I'm doing. But anyways, it's not just entertainment. I don't think I'm really capable of writing that way, because I think there's just so much that I want to express. And I've said this before, it's really hard for me to get into the core of what Fiendish is actually about, because it's only a chapter 1, and I've sold it as, yeah, boy has a town destroyed by monsters, and then years later finds monsters again, goes on a journey to figure out where these monsters and demons came from. Right, very basic. Like, you've seen this. This is a fantasy pitch you've heard before.
Sure.
But what the story really is about, because it's a mystery story, I'm going to spoil a lot if I get into the heart of it, but I have hinted that a huge focus of the story is about. I'm a nerdy cartographer. I
gotta interrupt you. I gotta interrupt you just a second. I love maps. My wife would buy me the Rand McNally Road Atlas every year because I just love to pore over maps. And as a kid, I would draw maps of like where the Ninja Turtles hideout is and all this stuff. I don't know why I freaking love maps. I made my own map for a fantasy comic that I never launched with my friend Philippe. We worked on one, and I made my own. It was the entire globe. I named dozens of cities and oceans and bays and mountain ranges, and so anyone that makes awesome maps, I'm in. But yeah, my wife would always buy me the big map that you take in your car, And I think they got me one last year. Actually, it's been a long time because of Google Maps. But I think they got me one last year, the year before my birthday. But I'll stop interrupting you. But I remember in college, I was in an African art history class, and there was this girl. She was pretty good looking, and she was talking to this other girl about maps for another art class. She made all these maps, and I didn't really know her, but I got really excited because it was maps. I'm like, you know how to make maps? How do you make a real map? And I started asking her all these questions and asking her if I could see it. And I realized like halfway through, she thought I was hitting on her.
Oh,
like,
you're like, whoa,
word map.
Yeah,
like, yeah, because I'm the married guy in class.
Right.
And, listen, if you're out there, I really wanted to see the maps. It wasn't a thing. So,
right. That's too funny.
So yeah, I felt kind of dumb afterwards. So.
Well, maps are really awesome and fun. And yeah, I'm a little bit of a nerd for them too. It comes from playing Pathfinder and tabletop role-playing games so much. And yep, because that's what it's like, a whole fantasy world and there's so much to explore. And Danky Frankie said it's smart to get an editor. Yeah, I would love to. It's just hard to find one. Trust me, I know editors are a good thing.
That's right.
It was Map Daddy in school.
No, I have my daughter bought me a globe for my birthday 2-3. I just love maps. I don't know why. I'll just get on Google Maps on my iPad or my phone and just like look around the world.
Same. Yeah. I just
always love maps.
I like exploring worlds, and I just like understanding structures of things. I've always just like I'm that person that reads Wikipedia for fun. I'll just delve into a topic and I'll say, ooh, what's the Hong Kong justice system like? Like, I have no reason to know this, but I'm just going to read all about it. But I mean, I like understanding things in the world and all the other nerdy stuff. So, but anyway, that's what we're talking about.
You were saying the plot of the story, but you can't give too much away because there's some really nice twists and mystery. So we won't drill down on that. You were saying basically it's a boy in a village. Horrific monsters attack. I would say
that's the basic pitch.
Fiendish monsters attack.
Right? Fiendish monsters,
Yes. And then years later, it happens again. So he goes on a quest to figure out where it's all coming from.
Yeah, that's the basic pitch. And so the thing is, I wanted to start out simple. I wanted to start out with something easy to understand that people could grab onto, that wasn't too complicated, because I know I have this whole world and there's a lot to delve into, but you want to make your story clear. Even if the world is complex, you have to have the heart and the core of your story has to like carve a way through that world that is extremely clear, straight as an arrow. You know exactly where your story is going. And what I decided to do was keep the idea basic, especially at first, because it's going to expand and it's going to get larger. And this sort of monster infestation and this trauma that my main character experiences is going to grow, and it affects other people, and then it's going to grow from there. But my philosophy for doing this project was, when I have an idea, I'm going to commit to it. And by that, I mean, if a character lost their whole family in a horrific supernatural attack, I'm not going to brush it off like this is, oh, it happened and yeah, he has trauma, but you never show it. You don't actually have the character having flashbacks. They don't retreat from society. They don't wake up at night. I'm doing my research into like psychology and stuff. I'm going to commit to what is it actually like to be in this person's shoes, because what I can say is a lot of about Fiendish is about how to deal with trauma and different ways to approach it. Like, because some people react to irreversible trauma by, well, I want revenge, and some people react to it by, I want to prevent other people from suffering the same, and still other people react by just retreating. So I want to explore different aspects of that using this fantastical vehicle.
That sounds amazing. I love that. And that's why you wouldn't fit in at Marvel and DC, because you want to write character arcs. You don't do a character arc when you're writing SJW comics. Them being black, that's the character arc. What if there was a guy and he was gay? The end. Like, how is that a story? Anyway, I don't mean to get off that, but yeah, no, it sounds amazing. Talk about their trauma and this and that, and then they have a character arc. I think that's freshman year writing. I think
it's pretty basic. Yeah.
So hold on. The character starts off as one thing, something bad happens, and then he becomes something else heroic. Man, it's like that's really hard to understand.
It's the beginning, middle, and end. It's lesson 1 of writing class.
Right. Thank you, Frankie. Ask her how much her RPG adventures influence her writing. Can I ask you?
Yeah. So I will say Casimir is based on one of my Pathfinder characters, the first Pathfinder character I had, actually. And I have said that on my streams before, but otherwise, the story is not based on anything I played. Some of the characters are based on characters from a role-playing game, especially Casimir. He's a ranger that I still play in Pathfinder. Some I haven't managed to kill yet, probably will get killed soon. But since the comic character has since diverged a lot from the game version that I played. They've become totally different people, which is very interesting. But the inspiration for that comes from tabletop role playing is more so like the kind of story I wanted to tell, right? Okay. It's sort of like this mystery fantasy combo that I really wanted to tell. And as I was playing, like exploring characters and storytelling using tabletop role playing, that's what I figured out. But the world of Fiendish, I do want to say, a lot of people read the comic and it clearly is very influenced by D&D. People say it feels like this is chapter 1 of the characters meet in a tavern, except they don't. They just walk around in the woods and they run into a monster. But it's the world is completely original. Even though I wanted to feel like a classic fantasy story, there's a lot of nods to Tolkien along the way. I created all the different species. I created the magic system. It's not derivative of D&D or Pathfinder. We haven't gone really into the magic system that much, but here, this is the page of all the different species. So you can see, other than humans, all the other races are just ones I created. I don't have elves. I don't have dwarves. I created my own fantasy species with their own magical abilities, and I have my own magic system
I love these guys.
It'll come in later. Oh yeah, they're fun.
They're like it's sort of like a bison a little bit. Yeah.
They're like a Yeti, except they're really peaceful. They're like huge. They're like 9 feet tall, but they're really peaceful mountain people.
Did the page not load art, or do you not have art yet for these other?
I don't have art yet. Yes, because someone else is doing that art. Because I don't have time. So.
All right. Super chat. Gotta honor that always. Max Santiago for 2 generous dollars. Thank you, Max. It's a Friday. I could use $2 more today. Rini has a great handle on pacing and dialogue. She does.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see. Renie's work looks amazing. Lord of the Rings or old heavy metal. Yeah, very cool.
Thank you. Cool. That's high praise. That's high
okay,
praise.
Well, I have some good news for you. Oh! I put a poll in the chat before you came on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and it said, should Rini do a cover for Beef Law?
Ah!
People, do you know what Beef Law is?
No.
Oh, you're gonna find out. I just know
I'm getting volunteered for a cover.
Yeah. Well, no, of course you'd be paid. Beef Law is a comic book I'm doing after Truth, Justice, American Way. Mm-hmm. And it's a 1990s Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal movies and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Like action, Chinese mafia down by the docks, and the guy jump kicks everyone to death, even though they're shooting at him with submachine guns. Somehow he just kicks them all to death. And just crime lords and illegal underground tournaments, Street Fighter 2, basically, all of that stuff. That's what Beef Law is. And I am currently writing, penciling, inking, and drawing that book. And I just thought I'd ask. So you are being put on the spot. You don't have to answer seriously, but just know, I'd be delighted. And there's there's a little bit of a thirst for it out there.
It's the pressure, the public pressure.
Right?
No, I mean, I would love to. It's just more of a scheduling thing. I've got, as long as you don't eat it quickly, but I would absolutely love to, especially if it's like muscle men punching things. This I've seen. Yeah,
I was getting roasted for the nipples.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I saw the art. I forgot the title of the book.
Yeah. So
I'd love to. I love drawing muscle men.
Yeah, this is my love letter to all that. Now, see, and they're down by the docks, and you see that famous building from Victoria Harbor with the zigzag. It's got that zigzag. It's a very famous building in Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And they're down by the docks. He's beating the guy up. And do I have anything else in here? And then I'm working on pinups too, because I just want to do pinups because I know people love that stuff. And then we'll get back to Fiendish, but I thought I'd have that in there real quick. And then hold on. I gotta put myself on the large camera here. I'm working on page 5. So the way I draw is I draw on like typing paper that's comic book size, and I flip it so I can get balance on the proportion and the anatomy and all that. So he's down, and this guy's jumping at him, gonna smash him. And then I got chocolate on the paper here. So I quit using that one. and then he kicks the guy into oblivion in the bottom panel.
Chaos.
So, it's all action, but it isn't mindless. It does have a story, and I go deep into psychology about the stuff that's important to me, like I was telling you, about family. And they're immigrants from Russia who end up in Hong Kong for a better life. The dad promises them, but he fails. And he borrows a bunch of money from some Russian mobsters he knows, and he gets in bad trouble, the dad. So then the son, Max, he wants nothing to do with the dad because the dad failed his sons. So he fights in these illegal fights and stuff like that. These underground fights like Street Fighter stuff. And the Chinese mafia is going to mess up his dad if he doesn't start fighting for them. So he has to fight his way through these tournaments to expose them. And they're in bed with the British government there doing drug stuff. And it's just all the delicious 90s action stuff. So I'll ask you when the time comes. That's not till the fall. When the time comes, I'll hit you up and see if you have time for a cover.
Okay, I'd love to. Yeah.
So if you want to do cheesy 90s action, there'll be something for you.
Let's go.
Yes. So we have the races, we have the map, we have the cool story. So Fiendish 1 is printed, and it's going to be coming to people soon.
It's half printed. Where I'm waiting on because I had to. It was a long journey. Long story short, I've been waiting for months and for me to get enough books to fulfill. I fulfilled about half of the total orders, but my first printer sent me over 800 books that were damaged. So that's over 60% of my print run that I couldn't use because the covers are damaged and I'm not going to ship a damaged product. So I'm waiting for new books to come in, which, like I said, should be about 15 days. Okay. We'll see. And I'm in talks with the printer. They're printing it literally right now. So I am like, as soon as I finish fulfillment, I'm going to launch book 2. But that's the issue. Printer issues.
So we want, Alex just put it in the chat. We want people to sign up for Fiendish Chapter 2. Do 2 things for me, guys. A couple things I need you to do. If you're out there watching right now, hit the like, hit the thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed. Stupid YouTube likes to unsubscribe when we do lives. Rini, you have a YouTube channel. Obviously, what's it called?
Rini Draws. I'm
put
Rini
it in the
Draws.
Private chat. Put it in the private chat. I'll put it in the comments. Okay. But yeah, it's at Rini Draws on YouTube. So follow Rini. Follow me everywhere too. And also, guys, we got to boost up those numbers on Truth, Justice, American Way. We're doing good. We're on our way to our $70,000 stretch goal. I got the trading cards, and when I got them, the margins on the back were off by like a millimeter. So I'm having them reprint them. They're not charging me more to do it, but I want the highest quality stuff for you. So I have 8,500 cards in the trunk of my car that are just junk now. I'm not sure what to do with them. They're just air cards. The guy at the printer was really sorry. They've done good jobs for me in the past. But yeah, absolutely. So there's a link in here. Oh, would you send me the link?
Oh yeah, that's the YouTube link.
Okay, so I'm going to copy that, throw that in there. So go get on the early sign up list for Fiendish. If you haven't backed Truth, Justice, American Way yet, Rini, should they back it today?
They should.
Right?
Yeah, it should happen. Back this.
I mean,
now.
that's what I would do. If I was a fan watching, I would buy like 10 copies, I think.
Yeah, why haven't you backed it yet? I mean, first of all, it is a great title. I can't believe it wasn't taken. And second of all, the art looks amazing. And third of all, wholesome superhero stories. We need more of that right now. You know you want this in your life.
Right. No woke here.
Get it.
Just fun action adventure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah. And David Williams has some new art. So we got the trading cards at 50,000. We got a sticker now. I'm working on the design for that. And then we have a pinup coming too for that. So please support that tonight. I know hey, wait a minute. It's Friday payday. So go do something irresponsible with your paycheck tonight and buy 100 copies of this book.
That's great.
Listen, when your wife gets mad, just say Gabe told you to do it. She can yell at me. So here's a pinup. We're going to open the 70,000. That is not colored. Those are just the flat colors for later when I actually color it. So that'll be the 70,000 stretch goal. So yeah, we've got that. We've got the trading cards. We've got a lot of fun stuff going on. Let me see if I can. Awesome. We'll get back to Fiendish stuff here, but I guess I'll take a moment to look at this stuff really quick, if you don't mind.
Oh no, go ahead. You gotta promote your book.
Absolutely. So there's the corner box sticker I'm working on. That's the $60,000 stretch goal. We did pass that. And then the trading cards, I got them back from the printer today. I wasn't happy with what I got, so they're reprinting it for me. And my wife is texting me asking me what I want for dinner. Sorry. And let's see. What a good woman, by the way.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, her name is Adrian. She's the best. Absolutely. Oh. Yo, Adrian. And these are the trading cards. This is it right here. And the early sign-up people, they get this pencil sketch one here on the left. And then everyone gets the other three of Truth, Justice, and American Way because we passed 50,000. Now, Rini, when people sign up for Fiendish 2, is there any, I'm putting you on the spot, but I got to ask, is there an incentive to sign up early for Fiendish 2?
There is, because only people who sign up for Fiendish 2, only people who are and who enter their email and are on that email list will get access to a secret perk and get access to a trading card, an exclusive trading card. Okay. You'll get access to a couple of secret perks. And what I have revealed is you will get, those are the perks with, that you can get a trading card, a Ragna trading card, which is my busty magic girl that everybody loves. And the only way you get her card is if you sign up now. And by the way, my trading cards are, crap, I don't have them like next to me. I have to go get them, but I can.
Oh, I thought you had it. That's
no, it's just right behind. It's in the next table.
Okay. Well, that squeal. My goodness.
Sorry. Okay.
All right. I'm going to leave you on full screen because it freaks people out.
I freak people out?
No, you get freaked out. Like people get freaked out when they're full. Okay. We could go for the nostril. We can go for the nostril cam if you want.
It's okay.
All right, let's see these cards.
I'm used to being awkward. It's okay. Well, these are my trading cards from book one of the campaign. So, by the way, if you missed out on the first campaign, you can still get the book because I'm printed some total overflow, but you will not get all the trinkets from the campaign. You won't get these trading cards. You won't get the stickers. You won't get the poster. I threw in so much stuff. You get people are getting. People who backed the live campaign with the first 60 days got stickers. So this sticker set that no one else is getting anymore because this is only for people who back within the first 60 days. Here, this right here, super adorable sticker set.
Little chibi style there.
Yeah, and this is the logo sticker, and his vinyl is really nice. And then I threw in a world map postcard, and then I'm throwing in another Ragna postcard for people who haven't gotten their books yet because I feel so bad. And then everyone is getting these trading cards for free. And then you have like a bunch of other stuff, and I like to throw. I can't control myself. But anyways,
isn't this so much fun being in Comicgate and being supported like this? And look at 81 people right now are so excited to see me and you. 81 people want to buy our books. This is just, you guys are so amazing. Look at this. Look at this. Zach Fernandez for $100.
Whoa!
This is just amazing. I'm not being phony. I'm so grateful, Zach. That's amazing, dude. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gabe and Rini. God bless you both. Wow, dude. Listen, gas prices, inflation, that is so generous of you, dude. I really, really appreciate it. Rini, you're great on here. I love entertaining these people with you. I think this is a lot of fun, man. And to see you just squealing about your cards, I was so excited about mine. And then I was looking at them and turn them over, and mine have real quick. What did I do with them? They're around here somewhere. Oh, they're right here. So you see how mine have the red border, and then there's white, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a white border around the red that's about the same thickness there, about a half centimeter, and it wasn't. The registration was off when they cut it. I can't accept these guys, and they were totally cool about it. They said they'll print it again and they'll get it back to me like middle next week. So I'll have the cards in hand. I have the mistake cards I have them like 8,500 cards. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but maybe I'll sell them at like on eBay or something as like error cards. I don't know.
Maybe.
So, Well, when I was a boy, I collected baseball cards in the 80s and the early 90s. And I don't know if you were ever into trading cards or anything, but the better players, their cards were rare, so that would make the value go up. They wouldn't print as many in the set of the star players. But another thing is occasionally there would be a legitimate error in the printing, and if you could get a hold of error cards, oh my gosh, those would be worth so much money. I have to show this error card. It is one of the greatest error baseball cards of all time. It is crude, and I'm not trying to be crude, but it is funny. Okay,
Let me see.
I'm bringing it up on. It's not like sexual or anything like nasty, but I want you to look. This is Billy Ripken. Hold on.
I can deal with crude. I've been on plenty of. I hang out with the people I hang out with.
Someone on his team pranked him, and a baseball players when they on the bottom of their bat they'll write their name or their number. Look what they wrote on his bat. Can you see that?
See it. No, it's too small. What is it? What did they do?
What?
Someone, hold on. Hang on, I'll zoom out a little.
Oh.
That is one of the most famous baseball cards of all time. That's real. That is
great.
So they printed a few of those, and then they found out somebody wrote fuckface. So they got rid of that. But if you have that, that's worth a ton of money, I think.
Holy crap.
When I was like in 6th grade or something, this was a legend, this card. Like, oh, I heard so-and-so's cousin has it or whatever. And you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know what year this was, but that's one of the greatest air cards of all time. My air cards are not as funny, but I do have air cards. So there you go.
That's great. Yeah, that makes sense that that would be that would be worth the most money. Oh,
right.
Awesome.
So, okay. Well, geez, this is fun. I hope people have been back in Fiendish while we've been on here. I know you have, and I know you've been back in Truth, Justice, and That Way. And we love it. Yeah, we love you guys for doing that.
I love you.
What else did you want to get to with the fans? Anything else you want to tell them?
Oh, one thing I wanted to show is my trading cards have D&D stats on the back. That's what I started rambling and then started talking about everything else except the point that I was trying to get to, which tends to happen a lot. So here I'm going to hold them out so you can't see them that clearly because it's secret. But if you're into tabletop role-playing games, you get these cards and you will be able to, it's like a mini character sheet. You can play in D&D or Pathfinder or because the gaming systems are interconnected between, like the D20 gaming system. So you should be able to adapt this for like Starfinder and a bunch of other games as well. So all my trading cards will have that. And I'm actually sharing my screen now. I'm sharing the Ragna card that you'll get if you sign up.
Looks a little saucy. Little saucy.
Yeah. So, like I said, my busty magic girl is she starts making an appearance in she had like a cameo at the end of chapter 1, but in chapter 2 you get to properly meet her. She's very sassy. Her and Casimir go way back. They've got a little bit of history. It's a lot of fun, and I love writing her because she's just got so much attitude, and also she's fun to draw. People love her. She's beautiful, and I'm currently drawing like 3 pinups of her because everybody's asking for her. She's very popular. So this trading card, which will have her stats on the back as well, will only be available for people who sign up. So that's why you should sign up for chapter 2 right now.
Very cool. Yeah. So make sure you sign up for. So you got to subscribe to both of our channels. You know, hit the like, all the things PewDiePie says or whatever, and you got to get over and sign up for Fiendish Volume 2. Okay, you got to sign up for early if you want to get the early bonuses. And we still have Truth, Justice, American Way funding. It's a great book, guys. So you buy that tonight, please. So, wow. Okay, well, we did an hour and a half.
Whoa! I think
time flew by. That went by like that. I definitely would love to have you back.
I'd love to come back.
What do you do? I don't know where you are. If you ever say what part of the country you're in. I'm in sunny San Diego. I'm right by the ocean. I like to tell people I could hit the ocean with a rock from where I live. You know that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, San Diego's pretty cool.
If I could throw a rock 3 miles, that'd be true. So, yeah.
Well, I believe in you. You got that strong arm. You know, like
let's go.
Yeah, you're strong and intimidating.
That's right. That's why Mark Brooks wants nothing to do with me because I just want to debate him, and I do want to humiliate him, and I would. By the way, I would humiliate him in a debate. Him or any of his other SCW cohorts. Anytime, people, I'll debate any of you.
Just to debate, yeah. Well, it's no secret. I'm in Georgia. I tell people that, so people know I'm near Atlanta. So yeah, that's where I am.
It's late. It's late over there.
It's like 8:30. It's fine.
I'm 43 and married. You know what I mean? It's late.
Okay.
8:30. It's like 8:30. It's time to get on the couch and watch Amazon or something like that.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah. No, my wife.
I'm going to be up all night drawing.
Well, you heard me say earlier. My wife was like, "What do you want for dinner?" But I said I want to go out to dinner with you because it was a busy week all week. We didn't spend a lot of time together. My mom was in town. We just sent her on to the airport this morning, and it was a nice visit. My mom was here for a week. But I didn't sleep in my own bed the last 3 nights because we didn't have enough room. So I was on the couch, in the living room with my dog. And my dog's just bothering me to pee at night. So, yeah, he keeps waking me up, asking me if I have to pee. No, just kidding. No, he's the one that wants to go.
How we suffer for family.
Right. Well, we talked all business, so I'll end it on this. What are you into right now besides making comics? I told you before the show that, like, in the last 18 hours, I've watched all of Stranger Things 4, and I just loved it. What are you into right now? What are you recommending for anyone that's really cool?
Berserk is starting up again.
I saw that.
Yeah, honestly, that's the only thing other than Vinland Saga, because I have so little free time. I keep up with the comics I really, really like. So right now I'm following Berserk, Vinland Saga, and I dip into, I need to catch up. Actually, I don't read a lot of shonen, which is more for like, younger audiences, but My Hero Academia is really good. So I need to get back on reading that. But yeah, other than that, I have no life. My current hobbies are fixing my house.
Okay. Cool.
Home renovation. Yay.
Okay. I said I would end it there, but I'll ask you one more thing. I've never been to the South until this November. My wife and I drove cross country. We were afraid of our flights getting canceled because all the flights were getting canceled. Remember?
Yeah.
In November, we drove to Disney World in Orlando. So I was in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, mid-November, beautiful weather. Mm-hmm. And the food. Take me away. That was amazing. The Southern food. I'd never had it before. Tamales at a gas station. Buc-ee's. Do you know what Buc-ee's is? The truck stops in Texas, and they go into Louisiana and all this. They're like the greatest truck stops in the world. But someone wanted to ask. I ask all that with like a blabbermouth. Does Rini enjoy that Southern cooking?
Oh, this is blasphemous. Not really.
All right, guys, that's the show. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you next week. I should kick you from the stream. How dare you? How dare you? If you tell me you don't like biscuits and gravy, if you say you don't like biscuits and gravy, we're gonna have a problem later.
I do like biscuits and gravy. What I don't like is like really oily stuff. It's just I grew up with Asian food. The southern because of different types of southern food. I like Louisiana cooking and Cajun food, but Georgia food is like that soul food and it's really thick and fattening and I never got used to it because Asian food is like all slim stuff. But yeah, Louisiana food really good. I went to New Orleans once, so much fun.
Right. Oh, did you
barely remember it?
Did you eat a boudin ball in Louisiana?
No, but I ate alligator.
Okay. Now you live in Georgia, so you're in the heart of barbecue, all the way from Texas up to the Carolinas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go rub barbecue, or do you go red sauce, or do you go like mustard North Carolina sauce? If you have to pick one of the three, which way are you going on your ribs?
I like mustard or something spicy.
That's what I like. I like the spice, like the mustard, the vinegar mustard one.
Yeah, spice.
Okay. Well, you're an absolute delight, Rini. But please come back. It'll be fantastic to have you back again.
Sure, absolutely.
Everybody, go to fiendishcomic.com. I put everything in the description, and you can still get volume 1. Sign up for volume 2, and go buy Truth, Justice, American Way tonight. And we will talk to you later. Thank you so much. Okay, guys.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.